Hello, welcome back to SparkleDart. Today it's going to be all about me. I'm SparkleDart. I'm so vain, I'm so self-centered that you have to listen to me talk all the time. I know it's a must. It must be a fucking chore for you to do that every single day, but honestly, I mean, it's like 12 minutes. You can fucking spare 12. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I'm just real on edge because of all of the cocaine that I do, all of the, hey, settle down there, fella. Just all of the, like, mind-altering substances that I take that just help me get through my day and help me to be less less stressed about everything that I do. It's just, it's not fun to have to shot him right in the duck. Okay, so anyways, I don't even know what the objective is here. Let me check real quick. Anyways, so my oven, I've got an oven at home, and the bake setting does not work on that oven, so what I have to wind up doing is I have to use the broil setting, and if you know anything about ovens and stuff, broiling does not work the same way as baking does, and you have to compensate quite a bit for the amount of things that you put in there. Like if you wanted to make like steakums and like fish sticks and French fries at the same time, then you have to really, there's so many fucking, okay, wait a second. No, okay. Let's push forward. We're wasting time here. You have to basically just set it to broil and then set it to your temperature, 450, 400, 350, doesn't matter. Whatever temperature your package says. Not to say anything about your package and how small it might be, but just so you know, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not making some sort of like lewd sexual innuendo. I'm not like being crass or nothing. I would never be so crass on my show. I like to keep it clean here. I like to make things family friendly and whatever. So if you don't believe me, then I guess that's up to you. That's your own thing now. Now, I can be kind of rude, and I apologize for that, but if I ever said anything that offended you, then just know that I was not being so serious about it. So, anyways, when I broil something in my stove, I have to set it way down so that it doesn't burn my my pizza or my pot pie or my whatever I put in there, because I'm a man of many tastes, but I don't like to make my own food. I just like to heat up frozen food because I think that it tastes just as fine, even if it doesn't have the same nutritional value, and even if it might be more expensive than doing it the other way. The more appropriate way to do that would be to make your own food, because it's actually cheaper. It's cheaper for you to do it that way, and people don't realize that. I mean, you can buy a bag of noodles for like $3, and you can buy like a 1 pound tube of ground beef for way less than that even. So actually, if you do some quick maths here, you'll realize, what is this fella doing? Okay. What's it going on about? Yeah, so you can make like a hamburger helper or spaghetti. You can make spaghetti bolognese, and you can eat that for many days. You can eat that for like 5 days at a time, and just keep on chowing down, and then you'll eventually have enough food to last you for 40 days and 40 nights, like the Canaanites and the Jews did when they crossed the desert into Europe or whatever for 40 days or 40 years it was. I have a hard time believing you could walk across the desert for 40 years. I don't think it'd take that long to get to where they was going. The Promised Land is what it was. So, I mean, even though Egypt wasn't the greatest place, they still could have. Come on, Natalia Simonova. They still could have planned a little bit better, I think. I mean, maybe granted I wasn't there with them, I wasn't in the desert, so I don't know exactly how that situation would turn out for them, because, it's difficult moving to a new place. You don't have any friends there, you don't know how to meet new people. It's difficult, and it's just not, it's not fun, moving to a new place. And I assume that those Jews, way back then when they were escaping the Egypt, they were nervous about going to a new school and going to a new church or whatever, like subscribing to a new belief system. It's difficult. It's really difficult, and we've all been there. I've been there. I know everybody that I know has been there, because we all come from different walks of life. Now, Right, so anyways, yeah, that's exactly what they had to go through. They had to move through the... But the thing is, I said they had like something like the Ark of the Covenant, or maybe I'm thinking of a different biblical story, biblical tale that has magic and heroism as a subplot, like a plot point, like that's important to them to do that. And maybe, you know, maybe it was. Maybe they thought that what they was doing was the right thing to do. I don't know, it's hard to say. A lot of it's conjecture, a lot of it's just secondhand stories passed down through time. Many generations telling the same story, and it tends to become over-encumbered by things that weren't actually true, didn't actually happen. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying that everything in the Bible is wrong. It's just that I only believe in the Old Testament, not the New Testament, for various reasons. Now, I'm sure there's some very nice things in the New Testament. It's just not part of the belief system that I'm a part of and that my family was a part of for all of the time that I spent growing up with them. Because, you know, that's how I was raised. And, you know, being kosher and stuff, it's all like, well, that's fantastic. Are these guys shooting rockets at me? Is that what's going on right now? This is ridiculous. Whatever. Okay. This didn't happen in the movie, by the way. They didn't shoot rockets at the guy, unless he was inside of, like, an M1A1 Abrams or something like that. One of those Russian infantry tanks. I don't know what they was called. The M1A1 Abrams was actually a U.S. tank that they used during, I think, the Cold War or the World War II or something like that. I don't know much about tanks. I know that tanks is nice, and they're very good at getting the job done, especially when there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and needs to be done in such a little time. Now, tanks are actually very easy to dispatch, because all you really need to do to dispatch a tank is you have to... I really wish they would stop shooting those rockets at me. Is set up a what is known as a Czech hedgehog, like a Czechoslovakian hedgehog. You might think that sounds like a silly thing, like what could that be? That doesn't sound like a real legitimate thing. I feel like you're making that up, but I'm actually not. The Czech hedgehogs are those things that they had at the beach of Normandy. In those pictures of Doomsdays, like those giant metal X's that they had out in the water when the boats were coming onto land, those are called Czech hedgehogs. And what those are used for is to dispatch tanks, or call traps serve a similar function. The Czech hedgehogs are like larger versions of call traps, which are four-pointed triangular devices that always form a base and always have at least one end sticking straight up. And now the call traps are made of hollow needles, so when they stick into a tire, the air will come out. Even if they have that self-sealing rubber, the call trap will stick into the tire and let the air out anyways. And no matter if they get knocked over like through an explosion or something, they'll still be standing straight up because they have that three-legged base that no matter which direction they fall, it'll always be making the same shape. And I think that that's amazing that we had that sort of foresight to do it that way back in that time. Now, the Czech hedgehogs, as I was saying, were effective at doing the same sort of thing for tanks. It would level a tank up off of its tracks to the point where the tank couldn't move anymore. And if you've ever tried to push a tank before, you can't just put the tank in neutral and push it into a parking lot, because it weighs several thousand tons, way more than a car weighs. Now, if you've ever been inside of a car, you know that they weigh a lot, because you can feel that raw power. Like if your car, it's got a full tank of gas, it's like, I'm gonna drive this car all fucking day is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna play whack-a-mole with these Russian infantrymen. So come on, fellas, help a brother out. Okay, right, anyways. So yeah, tanks, they're not necessarily easy to destroy, but they're somewhat easy to dispatch if your enemies aren't suspecting you to be doing such a thing. Now, after a while, that became like standard protocol in tank warfare, and I think that that's something that they did learn to appreciate and they learned to compensate for, and they started to bomb instead of tank. because you know bombing is way easier. Like if you ever looked at the Hiroshimas and the Nagasaki's, you're like, wow, that's very impressive. That's very impressive of you to build such an amazing, horrific, awful device that could kill so many people with so little problem. Now, actually, the Nagasaki and the Hiroshima bombs, the fat man and the little boy, they were actually quite not as powerful as the sorts of atomic or nuclear devices that we have today. Now, actually, our very first nuclear test, the Trinity test at the, I think it was Los Alamos in Nevada, or maybe it was New Mexico. I don't quite recall because, you know, I don't know. I'm not really a history buff. That's not my thing. I didn't study history. I just have a passing interest in massive, like, killing and death and warfare because that's super interesting to me because it's like, you know, how can you kill so many people and still be able to sleep at night? But I guess if you're rich, then it's never been an issue for you in the past. So it's like, whatever, you know, whatever. Just be diligent, be smart about it, make good decisions, and then good things will come to you as they do. That's really what it's all. That's really what it's all about. I think that's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about. So yeah, just be a nice, normal human boy. Be a cute, human, normal boy like me, who doesn't like to hurt other people's feelings. And if you do like to hurt other people's feelings, then that makes you a sociopath. And I don't think that we can get along. Although I would love to try, I don't feel like I should exclude you from my circle of friends just because you're a sociopath and you don't abide by like normal, conventional laws and stuff like that. So just, you know, just don't be a rude boy. I'm not asking for a miracle here. I'm just asking you not to be a rude boy, you know. And I feel like that's not too much to ask for. Okay, Oramorph. Or Caddy Oramorph. If you ever watched the James Bond, that's his name. You know all about the Oramorphs. Alright, so a lot of this game was fabricated. It has no real forbearance on the movie. Not that forbearance is a real word. Well, it's not a word that applies to the situation that I've used. Because forbearance is when you get your student loans deferred, but not because of like school or nothing, but because of an inability to actually pay them with your own monies. Because maybe you're not getting paid enough, and maybe you're not like working hard enough, not working enough hours to progress in life and have like a normal like 40K a year job like most people should have. Not that it's a problem if you make less than that. It just means that you're not like middle class. It means you're low end of middle class. Like a lot of people are, even people are poor, and not very many people are 1%ers. Now, if you're a 1%er, which you probably are, I don't know, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, then I'm not talking down to you. I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying that you have more money than like 50% of the world. So have fun with your days. Goodbye. Mwah.